Welcome to the Data Provider demo scenario. A trustee user that has already registered, signed up, to the platform as a data provider, accesses the trustee platform to register a dataset of the health domain as part of the distributed data sources of trustee. The data provider logins into trustee, gets authenticated, lands at the home page of the trustee platform, selects to use the provide data process for registering a dataset coming from the health domain, containing data for COVID-19. For registering their dataset, the data provider first needs to provide a description of it, including, among others, the provision of the datasets, name, size, number of records, access URL and access timespan, the definition of the types of metadata attributes that characterize it, the types of columns included in the dataset. The data provider needs to follow the agreement signing process, which entails the conduction of a privacy impact assessment and a GDPR compliance check for the dataset they wish to register. Finally, the data provider is prompted to sign the final agreement that will officially register their dataset as part of the distributed data sources of trustee. This agreement includes, among others, the definition of the specific computations that the data provider allows to be performed over their dataset for as long as the dataset is registered to trustee. After all the steps of the provide data process are completed successfully, the scenario ends as the dataset of the data provider is registered as part of the distributed data sources of trustee for the timespan that the data provider has selected, while the dataset itself continues to reside at the premises of the data provider. Prerequisites: user registration to the trustee platform as data provider and storing of all required information, such as verifiable credentials for to be registered datasets, homomorphic encryption keys, and cryptographic context. This is a scenario of an already registered data provider accessing the trustee platform. The data provider requests to log in to trustee. The user gets authenticated. After a successful login, the data provider returns to the dashboard and lands on the homepage. The data provider initiates the provide data workflow. Load the provide data page. Request and receive the list of available data domains, metadata attributes, and column names to load the dataset description form. The data provider is requested to provide all the information that describe the dataset they want to register, for example, dataset title, size, access URL, etc. The data provider submits the dataset description form and proceeds to the agreement signing process. The submitted information is sent to the Security and Trust Manager, STM, ABB. STM responds that information was received successfully. The data provider is redirected to the Agreements portal to sign all the necessary agreements for the dataset they want to register to trustee. The user is silently re-authenticated after their redirection to the user interface of the Security and Trust Manager component. STM requests and receives from the data lake a newly generated dataset ID for the dataset. For the agreement to be created and signed, trustee needs also to ensure that a privacy impact assessment is performed for the dataset to be registered, so the data provider is redirected to the UI of the DPIA-ABB. The user is silently re-authenticated after their redirection to the user interface of the Data Privacy Impact Assessment component. The data provider performs a privacy impact assessment for the dataset they want to register to trustee. After the privacy impact assessment has been performed, the user is redirected back to the My Agreements portal. Trustee needs also to ensure that a GDPR compliance check is performed for the dataset to be registered, so the data provider is redirected to the UI of the Trustworthiness AI Support Design Framework, which includes the GDPR compliance checker module. The user is silently re-authenticated after their redirection to the user interface of the GDPR compliance checker module. The data provider performs a GDPR compliance check for the dataset they want to register to trustee. After the GDPR compliance check has been performed, the user is redirected back to the My Agreements portal. STM requests and receives the list of available computations from the data lake to proceed with the agreement signing process. The data provider selects from the list of computations the ones that they allow to be performed on the dataset they want to register to trustee, and then provides all the additional required information and signs the agreement. After the entire agreement signing process has been successfully completed, the dataset is finally registered as part of the distributed data sources of trustee by the STM, sending all dataset relevant information to the data lake to store them. The dataset itself remains at the premises of the data provider. After all the steps have been completed, the data provider has successfully registered their dataset as part of the distributed data sources of trustee and returns back to the DA. The STM redirects the data provider back to the dashboard.